Hello, everybody. I'm Gail Annis Porter. I'm the pastor at Linden Linthicum United Methodist Church in Clarksville. And I want to talk to you today about preparation for your fall or upcoming focus on generosity in your congregation. I don't know what you're planning to do this fall for a generosity focus or a stewardship campaign or a pledge drive or a giving emphasis or whatever it is that you call it in your setting. But I would guess that with some certainty that it will be different from what you usually do. It'll be different from what you had envisioned a few months ago. There are so many factors, in or out of the building, PPP funding or not, unemployment or underemployment in your community, if there's a lot of that or not. The number of folks who are connecting electronically, the strength of those connections, ongoing mission emphases, donor fatigue, all kinds of different factors are going on these days, and lots more. Whatever you do, you are probably going to be doing some second guessing of that. Is this the right way to go about it? Are we asking too much of our folks? Are we asking too little of our folks? There are no easy answers, but I want to suggest a way to get started and keep it undergirded as you go through your process, however it turns out. A few years ago, the church that I serve engaged in a capital campaign for debt reduction. Debt reduction, not very glamorous. It's not like building, but it's what we needed to do. We engaged Horizon Stewardship to help us with the goal of reducing our mortgage by at least half. Long story short, since I'm sure that some of you would ask, it went well for us and the reduction was over 60%, thanks be to God. We are very thankful for that. But it's not the numbers that I want to talk about today. It's the foundation of the work. Our consultant began by asking us to continually hold before us one simple prayer in the form of a question. And that question was this: Lord, what do you want to do through me? It was a very helpful focal point for us. We posted it, we used it in worship, our kids painted it on a sign, we had it on materials that we printed, all kinds of things. So here's my question. What would a prayer be that would sum up what you need to be focusing on right now in your setting? For many of us, our usual big things aren't happening in the life of the church. They can't happen right now, so what does God want us to do instead? We need to be thinking about that and working toward that. I'm reminded of a verse from Isaiah chapter 43, verse 19. God is speaking to a people in exile through the prophet and says, I am about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. I love that. God is thinking about not just a measly trickle in the desert, but a river, a big flowing thing. How can you center your generosity effort in a prayer that people can use individually? You can put it out in publications or pray together as a congregation. Remember, it will need to be brief and memorable. Our capital campaign has long since ended, but I still remember the prayer, Lord, what do you want to do through me? And it's still a great reminder to me that God is at work through me. What would your grounding prayer be for your generosity effort this year? As you consider the new ways that you are called to be the church in these days, perhaps a prayer like this one. Reveal your will to us, O God, and stir up our generous hearts to do your will. It's a little bit longer than theirs, but still pretty brief. Reveal your will to us and stir our generous hearts to do your will. So here's your challenge. Sit down with your journal right now and write down some thoughts you have for a simple prayer, words or phrases. Sometime today, put that into a form that you can share, and then send it to your generosity team. The folks working with you with your FLA goals, your finance stewardship folks, whoever it makes sense, and ask them to start praying that prayer daily with you. You can do it on your own, each of you, but if each of you would commit to praying that prayer so that the prayer undergirds what you're doing. Even in this season, God has something good, bold, and life-giving in mind for your congregation. I believe with all my heart that you will need to be supplied, that God will supply all of your needs, and that your needs and God's response will be revealed in your prayer. To repeat, number one, jot down right now your first thoughts and phrases about what your prayer would be. Sometime today, put it in the form of a very simple prayer. And number three, send it to your generosity team and ask them to begin praying that prayer with you right now. That's the challenge, but don't let it end there. Get everyone in on it through worship, publications, budget and stewardship materials, and things like that. I know that God will hear your prayer.